Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric, and damn it, the date is finally here, and I am excited as hell. That is because earlier Night Striker's gear released on Steam, and it will be out on Switch and Switch 2 tomorrow. And to say I love the original Night Strikers would be an understatement. If you've watched my channel for a long time, I do a video on that game like once every couple of years, and I still say, and I will die on this statement, that it is one of the best arcade games ever made, not just as a sprite scaler, but as an overall vibe with an amazing soundtrack. So when I heard M2 Shot Triggers was making a sequel to the game, Night Striker Gear, I was absolutely excited and very hesitant to think, could they actually recapture the magic from the original Night Strikers? Well, I am here to tell you right now, even if it is the middle of October, Video Game Esoterica's Game of the Year is here, because holy shit, Night Striker's Gear just does everything I want it to, nothing more and nothing less. When I say this game is an absolute visual treat that mixes 3D and 2D pixel art together with a challenging, fun, sprite scaling-esque gameplay scenario, I 100% mean it. This thing literally is a love letter to the type of games I love, and I think you're going to enjoy it as well. Before I get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But right off the top, I'm going to focus what's most important to me, and that is the vibe. Night Striker had so many fun neon colors, this vibrancy that you really didn't see in arcades all that often. So the number one thing outside of gameplay that somebody like M2 Shot Triggers needs to hit is the overall look and feel of Night Striker. And I will say they have absolutely 100% nailed the brief. They've done everything perfectly here. And that really is the first thing I think about when I play a game, and I understand gameplay matters more than anything else, but to me when a game has such a unique visual identity, such a glow and ambience to it, if you don't have that same sort of magic in the sequel, then you're not going to interest me in the same way. This game is absolutely beautiful. Now I am playing it on my PC, and I've got an i9-12900K as well as a 3080 Ti, but I ramped this thing up as high as it could go, and had no issues whatsoever, no hitching, no performance problems. It is just a stunning game. But the second thing you need to do if you want to be a worthy successor to Night Striker is you have to have all of the gameplay intact. And that is another good bit of news here. Night Striker's gear, in my opinion, is just a straight up 11 out of 10 when it comes to that classic arcade gameplay. And that is something I absolutely love and absolutely advocate for, getting new modern arcade style experiences at home. And just so you know, even though I did test this on PC, I talked to somebody on Discord, Mario, that I talk to all the time when it comes to Steam Deck stuff. He put this game on his Steam Deck and said the performance was absolutely outstanding, so you should be totally fine there too. But the premise of Night Striker Gear is so incredibly simple. You are flying around on a ship, you shoot the ever-loving hell out of everything in front of you, and you try to stay alive until you get to the end credits. But the reality is they've definitely expanded on the formula here with the gear system. You will see at the bottom left-hand corner towards the center, I have max gear right now. That means at the push of a button I can actually do some transformer shit and become a bigger ship with a lot more power, as you see here. You absolutely want to utilize those for the bosses, because later on in the later stages, the bosses are going to fill the screen up almost like a bullet hell shmup. And the fun thing is, even though it definitely has a very unique perspective, avoiding bullets here actually is quite fair. They have a really nice color to them that shifts as it gets closer to you. So if you get hit by a bullet, at least on your first couple playthroughs, you know that you can actually study the screen and get better at the game. And that is definitely something that is very important with a viewport and perspective like this. You have to be able to be confident in thinking you can actually dodge the bullets and not get hit unfairly. And just like the original Night Strikers, you're going to see here we do have branching pathways, and don't worry, there's more to discover in this game that I'm showing you, but I'm kind of keeping some of the other fun bits and secrets to myself because I want you to discover these. And for the price of $18 on Steam, I would say you're absolutely just robbing the developers here. This could be a $30, $40 game, and I would happily open up my wallets and play it. But honestly, once we get to this next sky stage here, with that massive moon in the background, all of these skyscrapers going by as we sail above them, it just absolutely looks incredible. But you have to have a 10 out of 10 soundtrack as well, because the original Zuntata music in Night Striker was amazing. So here's your first soundtrack sample, and I'll be right back. I mean, honestly, the soundtrack has the same intensity of Night Striker, has those same kind of swelling operatic moments, and it definitely fits the imagery. It's going to be subjective if you like this one better than the original Night Striker, because I still consider that to be Zuntada's best work, but I'm here to tell you the soundtrack on Night Striker Gear would be worth actually buying the bundle just with the soundtrack if you wanted to listen to it in your spare time. It genuinely is that good. But there's something about the visuals here, it's really what hooks me into the game first, because obviously the original Night Striker was a complete sprite scaling game. There was nothing else going on, so actually trying to get that sort of vibe in a modern game with modern art styles and modern tool sets I thought would be very difficult. But just how this game moves by you, how all those buildings look both 3D and 2D at the same time, and how things actually pixelate as they get closer to the camera, this might be the best looking pseudo sprite scaling game in the modern era, because obviously it's doing things completely differently on the hardware and software side of things than it would have been doing in the arcades back in the day. And I really appreciate that at normal difficulty, M2 did not pull any punches here. The first time I played through this game, I was not able to beat it with the amount of credits they give you. It took to my second playthrough to actually get through one of these courses. But again, I probably sunk 50-60 hours into the original Night Striker, just kind of playing around, so it's something that I was definitely used to. And I will say, all of the shield extended flex here, it definitely adheres to what the original game's visual vibe would be as well. If there's one thing that I just wish had a little bit more going on, would be this tunnel sequence, because it is basic, maybe more so than I would have done in the modern era. But if that's the only complaint I can think about giving Night Striker Gear, holy hell, is it a good time, and I am just so excited that this game came out as good as I thought it would be. And with M2 at the development helm, I had a lot of optimism, but even still, when you're getting a sequel decades upon decades later to one of your favorite games of all time, you always have that fear in the back of your head that maybe it won't live up to the hype. Because Night Striker came out in 1989 and it is now 2025 and we finally have a sequel, and I absolutely love that. And I'm assuming a lot of people that play this game maybe never even played the first before. It definitely isn't required reading, for lack of a better term, but it would be fun to go in if you've never checked it out. But I just love the speed and intensity that Night Striker Gear is delivering me here. All of these enemies flying around, it just works. Now, I actually have a flight stick that I use for my PC when I don't feel like using my Xbox Series X controller, so that is how I'm playing it here, but I definitely tried with my Series X controller as well to get a sense of the controls, and both absolutely worked perfectly. Although I really do like the flight stick, it's what would be on an original Night Striker's arcade cabinet, and I do use it for some games on my PC as well, so if you have one of those, I can't recommend enough, definitely plug it in, because this game defaults to controller and you can use mouse and keyboard if you so wish. The only thing that I thought was weird is rumble is off by default. You have to turn that on in the menu. Let's do one more soundtrack sample, because again, the music in this game is absolutely incredible in every way, shape, or form, and I'll come back and show you how this ends. But this one sequence here through these neon lights, 10 out of 10 stunning. I love it, and I can't wait to play more. I mean, honestly, between the music, the sound effects, and the explosions, everything just hits in the audio department. And honestly, I'm going to feel a little bit bad about saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think M2 as a developer is absolutely amazing. I played so many of their games and they've never let me down. But for some strange reason, I felt somewhere deep down in my brain that maybe this was the game that they were going to fall a little flat on, just because my nostalgia and love for the original Night Striker goes so deep that I was really thinking to myself, are they going to make a game that has all of the charm, all of the visual splendor, and all of the absolute insane gameplay of the original, and do something with that to iterate on the entire formula to make it worth existing? And I'm going to say right now, any of the worries I had were absolutely unfounded, because this just straight up makes me happier than I've probably been all year when it comes in the video game department. Night Striker Gear is just a game that's absolutely made for me. And if you love arcade games, if you love sprite scaling games, and you're thinking whether or not this is worth $18 to pick up, do me that favor and spend that $18 for me, because I want M2 to do really well with this, so they think to themselves, games like this are definitely stuff that people want to still play, and we should definitely make more of it. And because Taito is one of my favorite developers, and Night Striker is one of my favorite games, even though this is obviously just a little bit of a joke, absolute 100% Game of the Year material for video game esoterica, so you heard it here first. And again, if you want to play this on Switch too, it will be out tomorrow. But the only wrong way to play Night Striker Gear is not to play it whatsoever. It is, in my opinion, as close to perfect as perfect gets. But I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.